My name's Jacob. I'm from Promotive. I sing and play guitar for Promotive.
Awesome. So, first question, Jacob. Obviously, I am very curious because I try to do my homework, but I like to know about, like, how did you start out Promotive, and like how did you get the rest of your members?
So Promotive has kind of been a thing that's been in the air for a long time, couple years actually.
Okay.
These songs I've kind of had in my back pocket for maybe like 3, 4 years.
Okay.
Because before this I was in and out of metal bands, so I never really had a chance to do anything with the pop punk scene. So I think about 2017, 2018, somewhere around there is when I finally decided, like, I should probably record some of this music that I have. Like, let's do something with this.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was working with our drummer Mel, who I've been in several bands with at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and he helped me record some of the music and send it out to people, get it all mixed and mastered nicely. And then somewhere down the line, he was like, "Hey, if you need someone to play drums for you, like, just let me know." And I was like, "Oh yeah, of course." So Mel's been a part of this for about as long as I have, which is really nice. I appreciate him for that. And then AJ came around probably towards the end of 2018.
Okay.
He was in with another group. I believe they're called Going Under. They were like a punk band. I went to one of their shows. We just hung out outside the venue for like 2 hours, just talking music and business and stuff. And I was like, wow, we really clicked with a lot of stuff. And so I was like, hey man, I got this like gig coming up if you want to fill in for it, like just as a guitar role. And he's like, yeah, that'd be sick. Gig fell through,
Oh
but
man, the friendship
yeah,
didn't though.
yeah, the friendship didn't. And so after that, I was like, man, like if you want to like stick around, you're welcome to. Like I could always, you know, I think we could work well together. And 2 years later, it's proven true. He's
That's
been
all.
he's been super helpful with this.
That's very cool. Like I feel like from what I've seen and just seeing like a lot of posts on like Promotive, and I don't know if you're running any like ads or anything, but I feel like obviously since I'm friends with you, I see a lot of this stuff on Facebook, and I try to make sure like if I like know they're doing their stuff, like I want to try to like check it out, listen to it. And I was listening to this song and I was like, wow, this is like extremely catchy. Like I was like really just like really on board with it, and I was just like I should just hit Jacob up and see if he'd be down to do anything. But like I guess what was the forethought, because you said you were in metal bands before this, so what was the forethought, I guess, to jump to like do pop punk? Because I feel like it does definitely have more of a catchier sort of vibe to it and stuff like that. So what made you go that route instead of maybe going like, again, kind of like, since you like metal and obviously you've been in metal projects and stuff like that, what made you want to do pop punk this time around?
Just wanted to tread some new water, and like I said, these are songs I've had written for a really long time, and it's like obviously stuff that would never work in in a metal setting. So I was like, okay, well, let's kind of take all this and put it somewhere else and see what I can do with it. So it's kind of just something I've had in the back of my mind for a while. Like I want to say for the last 5, 6 years, like I've been in and out of metal bands, but at the same time been writing all this like poppier, catchier stuff. And I was like, I should really do something with this one day.
And how do you feel like now that it's all kind of, I feel like the train is moving, like you're obviously releasing new stuff. Like how does that feel, knowing that, like you said, you've been working on it for like 5 to 6 years? It must feel like really gratifying to finally get it out. And like I said, I've seen some of your posts where they're like a little bit more like informative, and you're just like, I've been sitting on these for so long, and I'm glad it's finally coming out. So it must be a relief. Like I know how like I'll have stuff like in my backlog when I like record stuff, and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't wait for people to check this out. So like, how does that feel, knowing that you're like, I've been on working on this for 6 years and now it's finally gonna come out?
Yeah, it's super super relieving, and just like it makes it even better to see like the response I've been getting to all these songs. Just like this, like a lot of people are really liking them. It's like even this last one that we just put out, In My Head, like that one, conceptually everything from like the song, the video, like everything has been a thing for a couple years. Just like to see how that came to fruition, just all the hard work and like love that got put into that, just from everybody involved, was just
Yeah.
like super rewarding and super gratifying to see. And I'm really stoked that people really like that one. Just how fine tuned and like good everything came out.
Yeah, because that was my first like kind of introduction. I had kind of checked out stuff, but like it's been like on and off. And then I had seen, like I said, I've been watching and just checking out posts and stuff. And I had saw that, and I was like, I should check this out because I was like, I know we've been friends for a while, and I was just like, I gotta, I do my best whenever I like add my friends to check out their music and stuff, and I was like genuinely blown away. I was like, man, like this is like one song like them, like the chorus is just like has these great hooks on it and stuff, and I was just really blown away. So everybody, I'll link it below in the description where you can go check it out. But I guess that kind of leads into my next question, Jacob, which is like, who got you started out in music? Like, who started, your love and your passion for music, and then who kind of influences you now more currently?
I mean, I was born and raised kind of in a musical home.
Okay.
I've been involved with music in some way, shape, or form since I was like 5. I remember being 5 and my grandpa buying me my first guitar
Oh, that's awesome.
and just sitting on that, just playing that, and then being as young as like 6 or 7, getting piano lessons that I never really did anything with. But I think around probably high school, like freshman year of high school, is when I really started to delve deep into music. No, not coincidentally, around the time the Guitar Hero came out, like that's when I started to
My
really
guy. Yes.
explore a lot more music. Because before then, it was like little things here and there. I was never really super deep into music. But then, like I don't deny it, like Guitar Hero opened up my horizons when it comes to
Same.
music.
Yeah.
And I'm eternally grateful for that game. But around that time is I think when I really started to kick it into high gear with music, like just playing and writing, jamming with different people, like whoever it could, because
Yeah.
it was a lot harder to find musicians back in the day for me. But I think my first band was when I didn't get like a band together until probably my first or second year out of high school.
Oh,
Was when I
wow.
first
Okay.
put a group together, and it was rough, but you live, you learn, and
Yeah.
years pass, and now here we are now. But I think the things that influence me most nowadays when it comes to music is just like not so much music itself per se, but everything else
Outside of
with my
that.
life.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the things I write about are more experience based than like, oh, like this girl, this and that, which is ironic to say because in my head is kind of about a
Yeah.
girl.
I
But
was going to say.
I'll get into that story in a bit. But it's just like I like to look at life as like everything and anything and everything can influence you,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
it can influence your writing. So like something like I was in a heavy metal group maybe like, oh God, how long has it been now? 3, 4 years ago, like backyard heavy metal scene in one of those bands, and like we would literally like we'd play like Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2, right? Playing that, and then my singer is like, we should write a song about this. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So it's like I like to think anything and everything is an influence these days, at least for me. And it's a good outlook to have on the world because then
Yeah.
it's even like negative things. It's like, oh, that sucks. I like to look at it as like, okay, well, how can I apply that to music? How can I flip this around, write about it, and if it's something bad, hopefully feel better about it later.
Yeah. I also feel like, I also feel like you're able to say stuff that I feel like you wouldn't necessarily be able to say. Like something about music just speaks to you, like even if it's like as cliche as like, oh my God, I got dumped by somebody now, like it's like there's plenty of like sad pop punk songs that I've heard throughout my many years of like listening to music. And granted, sometimes I feel like it gets old, but then sometimes I'm just like, I feel that in my, I feel that in my bones
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And I think that's a really cool approach to take. Not to say that like, I feel like every musician kind of takes, from their life experiences, but to kind of, I guess, open that door up even more and just be like, anything can influence, how I choose to live life. You know what I mean? Like those are all
Right.
kind of like little pieces, little puzzles of like, what happens in your life. And it's cool to see like, if somebody wants to talk about like, something, that is a little bit more personal to them. Like I feel like that will touch a lot of people in that respect. And then, you could have songs where you're just like, I enjoy life and I'm going to be talking about that. Like it
Mhm.
that's one of the coolest things about music in general that I feel like, and I'm excited to listen to what you guys have, because like, again, you have one song that I feel like in my head feels like, okay, yeah, this is like, the atypical kind of like, I have this girl in my head kind of a thing. But at the same
Mhm.
point, I'm excited to see kind of the more like, I don't want to say mature because that sounds terrible to say, but just like I'm excited to see like the blossoming of like new music and like different lyrical, backgrounds and stuff like that. But I guess I'll rephrase the question a little bit more, like who musically influenced you, like what types of bands really got you like into music, and that influences your kind of styling for Promotive.
Mhm. Um, oh, it's a long list, but I mean, for
I
sure,
have a lot of
definitely
time, Jacob.
I know that for sure, definitely like throughout like life, like as far back since like when I was 8 years old, like Rise Against has been one of my biggest
Oof.
musical influences. Everything from just the way they structure their music to their melodies,
Yeah.
and not as prevalent like the message of their music, but every now and again that still bleeds through a little bit
Sure.
too. But in more recent years, I would say like All Time Low has been killing it.
Oh yeah.
I look up to them as musicians because they're like, especially with the last couple albums they put out, they can do something as far as a pop album, super pop album, and then this
Yeah.
last album they put out, which is a little bit more back to their roots, which is I think is really cool that they can do that and get away with it and still have their fans really appreciate it. And then Silverstein has also been a big influence too, like probably one of my favorite bands out there right now. This last album they put out was kind of the same thing, where it's a lot more on the poppier side, but it's still very much them, very much their sound, and still very much that they've owned and mastered.
Yeah,
You know, and
I think it's cool to see bands like, especially Silverstein and like Rise Against, all the bands that you have mentioned, like to kind of evolve over the years. Like, they still keep that same core energy, but like, again with the whole like Silverstein thing, like I haven't fully listened to the new record. I've listened to songs, and I
Mhm.
know that some people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, you haven't checked it out." But I feel like some of their stuff, like I still love them as a band. Like they're probably one of the first bands that got me into this like type of music for sure. And it's cool to see their progression, like going from like pretty like post-hardcore kind of screamo stuff to like now, like they have kind of a mix of everything at this point. And
Right.
it's cool to see their progression as a band and stuff like that. And I like that you mentioned Rise Against, because, and also you mentioned Guitar Hero earlier, because I feel like that was when I first found out about Rise Against. I think it was Guitar Hero 3, I'm pretty sure. They had like a song
Yeah.
on that, and I was just like, who's this band? Like I've never heard of them before. This is sick. Like I got to check out the rest of the stuff. I think it was Prayer of the Refugee, and I was just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
this band, I have to listen to the rest of whatever they're doing. And that was when I like kind of delved more into like alternative music. So I'm glad you
Mhm.
mentioned that like game, because much like yourself, like I feel like for me, like that was also one of the bigger reasons why I got into like this scene of music for sure.
Yeah.
But the next question, Jacob, I guess we're gonna continue on. And what are some of the bands that you're listening to currently? What's on your Spotify? What have you been listening to lately? Pretty much.
Well, aside from those two bands, because those two bands just had albums drop recently, and they've
Correct.
been
Yeah.
amazing. So I've kind of had those on repeat shamelessly for forever. But on a more curveball note, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but the artist's name is Dua Lipa. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yes. I'm pretty
But
sure you're
her,
correct.
her
Yeah.
her last album was phenomenal, so I've been listening to that a lot. Um, and then just a lot of like music that some of my buddies have been putting out recently, like Takers Lever's new single was really good. Every Other Year's new single was really good. So stuff like that. What else have I been listening to? The new used record, of course. And then just whatever comes up on my Spotify, honestly.
There we go. Well, I got to give a shout out to Takers Levers. Their interview is coming out very soon, so I'm excited for y'all to check that out. But yeah, definitely check out Promotive. That new single, their newest single, is really good. Definitely been on my list of stuff that I've been listening to lately. So go give that a listen. But the next question, Jacob, a fun one. If you could pick a song to cover, what song would it be?
Oh, a long list of songs. Um, I'm really on a Fall Out Boy kick right now too. I would
Ooh,
love to cover something by Fall Out Boy, maybe like I mean, I used to do a bunch of acoustic gigs all over the place, and I would
okay.
always cover "Shoes Were Going Down" just because it was a fun one, an easy one that everybody knew and everybody would sing along to. What's another one? I would always do "Swing Life Away" also by Rise Against.
Ooh, that's a great one. Yeah.
But oh gosh, what would be a fun one to cover? I would love to take like an older song, and I say older like the last 10 years from like
Yeah.
like the emo scene days,
Yeah.
take something like that and breathe some new life into it. Maybe something like Pierce the Veil or Sleeping with Sirens. I
Okay.
think that would
Okay.
be a lot of fun to just take and like turn on its head. It's like, what if they wrote this today?
Any? Do you have any song in particular that you would be interested in working on?
I mean, I would want to say, like, 'cause I like Sleeping with Sirens a lot better than Pierce the Veil personally. So I would want to, I'd say something like Can't Hang or maybe like James Dean.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
I think that would be a lot of fun to just take and like, what if, especially like to take it and put our own spin on it. It's like, what if Sleeping with Sirens was a pop punk band, and what if they
Yeah,
like, they had that sound? I mean, they're kind of a pop act now, or not now, but like when Madness and all those
yeah,
albums came out.
yeah,
But it'd be cool to see what that song would sound like in a different setting. I think that would be really cool.
yeah. No,
Because like
kind
those
of a
are the kind of
genre flip.
covers, right? Because those are the kind of covers I appreciate the most, as opposed to someone just kind of playing the song as it is. I like to see when a band can take the song and flip it on its head and make it their own.
Yeah, I think it's.
Like,
I think I can appreciate when a band takes more of a creative spin on it, where they're just like, okay, like. I think that's what I think when I think of cover songs. Like I'm thinking of like the creative aspect of it, like a band that like I would not expect covering this, but somehow make it their own, and it just feels like when I'm listening to it, I'm like, that's that band. Like it sounds exactly like it, but it's like a song that I know and I'm familiar with, you know. So
right,
I
exactly.
appreciate that even more so. But the next question, Jacob, another fun one as well. Favorite food to eat? What's the go-to?
Okay. I mean, most people that know me to be I'm a self-proclaimed Taco Bell enthusiast. You
My
know.
guy, my guy.
So that's kind of my go-to place, even though my girlfriend kind of hates me for it. But that like, if I'm like out and about and I just want a quick bite to eat, I'll stop in there, grab a Crunch Wrap or like a 5-layer burrito, wash it down with a Baja Blast. That's like my go-to. But if I'm feeling fancy and I have, if I can afford it, I'll pop in as like a Red Lobster or something. Just,
Interesting. Okay.
you know.
Very cool. I feel like myself, I am also a Taco Bell enthusiast. I know I shouldn't eat it as much, but whenever I get the chance to eat it, your boy goes in. So I feel
Yeah.
like Taco Bell, if you wanna sponsor us, that'd be tight. I would be listen, I would be Jacob and I would be your poster boys. I'm totally, listen. I'll talk about Taco Bell all day, every day. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
well, we'll Taco Bell will be reaching out via Twitter. So if you wanna, if you wanna hit us with that, that slick like gift card or some shit, that would be perfect. I'd love it. But the next question, Jacob, getting back to the music stuff, if you were to pick somebody to collaborate with, whether it be a guest spot on your next record or a producer you'd like to work with in the future, who would it be?
Hmm. That's a good question.
Thank you.
I would love. Okay, so as I'm gonna say like I'm gonna take it from like a feature, like a feature on a song
Okay. Okay.
position, and I know for sure like I would love to have either Shane from Silverstein or Aaron from Under Oath.
Ooh.
'Cause those are two musicians I've looked up to probably like as long as I've been playing music, especially Aaron, just because like his approach to music, and he's kind of the same, like, whereas he's in a metal band with Under Oath, and then he's got the Almost, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
kind of two sides of the coin, and I've always looked up to him for that, and like even like his personal life, just like the things he's gone through, and like the kind of hills and valleys he's been through in his life, I resonate with a lot, especially like coming from a Christian background. Like I've
Hmm.
seen his progression through his life and like how he looks at things like that, and it's like I can look up to him for that. Like, even though it's kind of, not to get on the topic, like off topic, too preachy, but like even like things have wavered in his life a little bit. I can still respect him,
Sure, yeah.
as a musician and as a person, just like for standing up for what he believes in,
Yeah.
and not being put down or ashamed by everybody, kind of, frankly, everybody giving him crap for it, just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I can respect that a lot. So definitely, like, he's someone I would really want to collaborate with. Um, Man, yeah, I think that's the big one for sure.
I feel that. I feel that too, because, like, again, I feel like we grew up in the same era of music, like, Under Oath, like August Burns Red, Devil Wears Prada, like that the classic scene, metalcore scene. And for me, I can also resonate with, like, what you were saying about, like, Aaron, and, like, also just, like, Under Oath in general. Like, I feel the same way, like, growing up religiously, I feel like I feel that way about certain things too. And so when when he talks about certain things, like, I have that sort of picture too. So I mean, again, I might not respect everything that he does or whatever, but I think that, like, I feel like I can appreciate where he's coming from. And I think it's definitely tough, and I'm glad that, like, I feel like people didn't really take it as harsh as they could have taken it, because you could
Right.
see comments, like, but I feel like there's always going to be that, like, gray area where people are going to be like, oh man, like, I remember, like, I feel like another band that got, like, a lot of shit was, like, Gideon. I feel like they kind of, like, teeter with, like, when I think it was not Cold, but the record before that, they were, like, more in that religious part, and then they kind of drifted away from it, and then
Mhm.
people were giving them flack for it too. So I don't know. I'm not we're I'm not the person to ask on this. Neither, I'm sure Jacob is either. But I feel like it's important, and I think that one of the big things is why I love this scene is that, like, like, I feel like people are just going to take you for how you are. Like, we're here for the
Right.
music. Like, we want to enjoy it, and, like, as much as maybe we don't agree with it, on a personal basis, I think it's at the end of the day, it's like we're here for the music, and, like, that's the most important thing. At least I think so. I don't know.
Definitely.
I don't want to put words in
Espe-
your mouth either.
especially like especially this music scene, like you said, because it's like, I feel like, if anything, at least for me, like, this music scene is a lot more unifying than it is divisive.
Oh yeah,
Because, like, you look at, like, these bands, like, it's like Silverstein, Under Oath, like all those emo bands, like, to anybody else, it's like, oh, that's just sad music. Why are you listening to that? You're just gonna be more, that's just gonna make you more sad. That's not gonna help. But it's like, yes and no, because in a weird way, like, listening to these people sing about how awful like things are in their life, like, if I can relate to that, it makes me feel less alone. And I
yeah,
feel like
yeah.
that could be said for a lot of people. Which is why I feel like this music scene is so unifying, because it's like everybody has their own struggles, but at the same time, you're not alone in those struggles.
Yeah, I think what I've come to realize listening to this music for such a long time, I think it's more so for me, like, it's like a cathartic sort of thing. Like, I like, you feel that certain way, and, like, I think that's a big reason why, like, bands in general stick around for me, because it's just like the kind of things that you can talk about, like, you could talk about, like, some sort of, like, some sort of disease that somebody dies of, like, one that I can think of off the top of my head is, like, movements. And they were talking about, I forget what the
Mm-hmm.
song is, but, like, Pat was talking about, like, I think it was his grandfather having, like, dementia and stuff. And,
Right. Yeah.
that's a hard topic, I feel like, that you wouldn't hear, somebody on the radio talk about. And I think that for me, there's just such a resonating factor between just, like, something like that to something like, again, you can have, like, real happy songs where people are just, like, enjoying life. And it kind of runs the gambit, and I think that's what kind of keeps me motivated to find more bands and to hear more stories, because it's, everybody comes from different walks of life. And I think that's what gives everybody that, like, unique opportunity, or that unique ability to share their story, because everybody is different.
Right.
So, but the next question, we didn't mean to get hot and heavy, but like I always appreciate those honest conversations, so I gotta give Jacob credit for that. But we're gonna move into some fun stuff, Jacob. I know you're a big video game fan, so I know without question, I know you'll be able to answer this one. But if you could be a video game character, who would you be?
Ooh, okay. That's an interesting question. I'm gonna say this only because I recently just played through it, or finally got around to playing through it. But I just finished Jedi Fallen Order.
Ooh.
So I think the main character Cal, like, I think that would be a fun, like, no, I say fun very loosely because it's a very, it's a very tense time to play. But like, I think that his story arc was really cool because he starts as someone who's very much like, he comes from a traumatic background and he's kind of just like wants nothing to do with it. Like, for those who haven't played the game, like, he's or are not really Star Wars fans, I guess. break it down to someone who's not a Star Wars fan, like he was a apprentice to a master. The master gets killed, and like the entire army basically betrays his Jedi Order, and they, that's how the Empire starts with like the original trilogy.
Yes.
And so this game takes place kind of at the start of that new Empire being built, and he's just kind of like this Jedi that doesn't want to be seen or known about because he's trying to run from that. But like as the game progresses, he's like, no, I'm done running. Like I'm gonna stand up for this. Like I'm gonna, and I think it's really cool. It's a very much echoes like the story of Luke Skywalker, who very like reluctantly enters this whole world of like the rebellion and like the Jedi. But by the end of it, he's like standing up to the Emperor, like, no, like this is who I am,
There we go. That's a great answer. I love both Star Wars and Jedi Fallen Order. I feel like that, that answer gives me that. I give it a 10 out of 10. That was a great way of explaining it to people who don't know the game. And I also feel like, great answer, for me, I got all my, well, you can't see it, but I have, Mr. Dialga here. I'm a big, nice. I got my Pokemon stuff all over my desk here. So, I thought for sure you're going to say something like that, but, I appreciate the instant honesty of, the Star Wars thing.
It is funny that you said that though, because I've been pretty heavy back into Pokemon Go, for the last few months.
There we go.
Especially right now because they're doing I think they call it like a flashback event where every week they go through the different regions like Kanto, Johto. They're on Sinnoh right now.
Oh, nice. There we go.
And that's been a lot of fun. Like Pokemon is a very special place in my heart for sure.
Same. I feel that. I was like kind of like low key. I was like, Jacob's gonna say Pokemon, and then we're gonna have this talk about it for like a brief moment, but it's cool. We'll just let it, we'll let it reside, and it'll just be on the internet for people to check out later on, maybe. But the next question, Jacob. You spoke about learning how to play piano early on, and like you sing and you play guitar, but if there was another musical instrument you could add to your arsenal, what would it be?
I would love to learn how to play the saxophone.
Oh, okay.
Just right off the bat, especially like nowadays, I don't know if it's just like coincidence, but I've been seeing a lot of bands having more saxophone music on, or saxophone features on their albums, like talking about Silverstein and the Almost, like they both had songs with sax solos, and it's just such a tasty instrument. Like, I would love to play sax. I think that would be really cool.
There we go. Well, we're gonna the internet is the ultimate hold you accountable tool. So listen, if Promotive by the next time you come on doesn't have a sax solo, I'll be I won't say anything. I'll be low key a little disappointed, but I feel like I'll give you enough time to find somebody or for you to learn saxophone.
I'm sure we could find someone for a song somewhere down the line.
There we go. Well, if you play saxophone and you watch my channel, hit Jacob up. I'm sure he would like to get you on a track. But the next question, another fun music-related question. If you were to compile a dream tour lineup, who would be on it? I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't say your band was on it. That's the whole point.
Okay. For points, I'll throw my band on, but as an opening act, because I would. This is gonna be interesting, but obviously I would want Rise Against, Silverstein on that band. I'm gonna limit myself to 4 just to make this easy.
Okay.
But it'd be I'll throw Promotive on there, Silverstein, Rise Against. But I would actually love because I haven't seen them yet. I really want to, but Journey.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. Journey is like the band that like I grew up with. Like
Oh,
my
same. Yeah.
parents were both big classic rock fans, and like I grew up with like Journey and the Beatles. But like Journey for sure is the one that's stuck around with me this whole time, and like I would love to see them, especially like on a Dream Tour lineup. Like
That would be
I've seen a
phenomenal.
lot of bands in my lifetime, but like they're the ones that I haven't been able to catch yet, and I really want to catch them before, God forbid, before they go.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I also kind of I grew up in like classic rock and stuff, so like like Journey, Boston,
Hmm.
Styx, Kansas, Foreigner, all that sort of stuff. Like I grew up listening to all that sort of stuff, so that answer resonates with me. Journey's one of my favorites. I mean, how can you deny such a great like literal discography of great music that they've created over the years? So I would personally go see that. So you guys can buy tickets for this awesome tour. It's going to be hitting your city in 2022 because we feel like 2020 is canceled so far and 2021 ain't looking too
Yeah.
good. So we're gonna push it out there. It's gonna happen. We're out in the universe. We say we're pushing it out into the universe. So Journey, I don't know if you're doing the touring thing, but if you want to come out of
I think they had
hiatus,
some. They had a stint not too long ago with I think Def Leppard last year.
they
So I
did.
mean,
So if you want to come out of touring retirement and do a tour of Promotive, just saying, I would be about it. I will, I'll
there
co-sign
would be
that.
some of it, definitely.
I would be all about it. But the next question, Jacob, kind of the follow up to that one. In your opinion, who puts on a great live performance?
Ooh, okay. So there's a couple different ways I can go about this, but because I think about it, and the best show experience, not so much from like a performance aspect, but just the best like experience of seeing a live concert for me that I've seen was Muse.
Oh, dude, that's on
Like
my bucket list. That's on my bucket
I've
list.
been,
I haven't seen
I
them yet.
went and saw Muse in 2015 for the Drones tour,
Oh,
and
that's
it
tight.
was it was a 360 show, so like it was all around, and like they were in the middle, and it was we had pretty up there seats for this one. It was me and a buddy of mine, but that show was like unreal. They had so many like it was like all these lights, and then like there was I forgot what song it was for. It was one of the I think it was a Dead Inside, but
Ooh.
they had these big projectors come down, and they had like puppeteer hands controlling them, and it was just so sick. And of course, drones tour, so they had drones flying around and like all these like cool lights and effects. It was man, like if you have a chance to see Muse, go see Muse because they definitely put on a show.
I feel that. I want to Muse, I don't know how much touring you're obviously doing now. No one really is, but once touring resumes, I would, hit the United States again, please. That would be great so I can see you guys
Hmm.
play live. But the next question, Jacob, keeping it more to your band, what would be one song? It doesn't even necessarily have to be out yet, but what is one song you would recommend to a new fan that was checking out Promotive? Like if they were like checking out, they just happen to be scrolling through, checking the channel out, or like, just scrolling through, like typing, whatever type of music in, and they happen to stumble across your band. What would be one song you would recommend to them? You know.
I mean, just because it just came out, and I honestly do think that this is the case. But the new song in my head, I think, is right now probably the like best way to describe the band Promotive because like it's a very catchy, pop
Yeah.
punk, nostalgic sounding song almost. The video is just to me the video was a lot of fun. So like I think that song, even like in the grand scheme of what we have coming out, I think that's the one I would be like, hey, this is the one like you guys should check out. It's like, oh, you never heard of us? Here you go. I
There we
think
go.
that's the one, definitely.
There we go. I already gave it the cosign earlier, but if you need it straight from the horse's mouth. Jacob told you to check out that one, so you should go give that one a listen. But the next question, Jacob, another fun one. Favorite TV show, favorite movie?
Hmm. Okay. TV show. I'm not much of a TV person, but I know there are a couple TV shows that I like right now.
Okay.
I just finished BoJack Horseman on Netflix.
Ooh.
That show is phenomenal, and I would highly recommend it to anybody because it is super funny, but it's
It is.
also super serious and super real, and it's a really really good storyline. It's on Netflix, like I said. That's probably what I would say is my favorite TV show right now. And then movies, of course, like I was talking about Star Wars earlier, like Star Wars will always have a special place in my heart. But to be specific, my favorite Star Wars movie out of all of them is Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yes, my guy, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I feel, not to say I feel like I'm singled out, but I love that movie. That's like childhood. Like I'm not even nostalgic
Mhm.
glasses. I went back and rewatched it, and still one of my favorites. So
Yeah, definitely.
props,
Like
props to you.
I spent May the 4th. Well, like started at midnight and went the entire day just watching all nine of the movies. I was dead by the end of it.
I
But
was
like
gonna say, yeah.
it's so funny just watching these movies, like because a lot of them I hadn't seen in a while, but
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
them all like, back to back, it's like even like the episode one Phantom Menace, like I have a newfound appreciation for that movie. But like episode three still reigns true as like my favorite one.
Did you watch from like 1 to 9, or did you watch from like 4 to 6, then 1 to 3, then
No, I did one
seven to
to
nine?
nine. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I did
interesting,
something like that
interesting.
just to see how the story progresses.
I feel that. I feel that. I feel like I have to try it at least once, and I want to watch the like Rogue One, Han Solo, all that sort of stuff, just to kind of
See,
like.
I was going to originally squeeze in Rogue One and Solo, but I made the mistake of taking like a 4 hour nap.
Well, I mean, you did spend the entire day watching
Right.
nine episodes, so I feel like we got to give you somewhat. We got to give you props. I mean, I feel like that's a lot of work.
It's okay. There's always next year to do all. What is it? 11 now, huh? All
Oh,
11.
all 11. I'll be thinking about you, Jacob. On next May 4th, I'll just be like, I'll just shoot you a text message on Facebook and be like, praying for you, bud. um, but the next question, Jacob, if you were trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one record you could bring with you, what would it be? It's a
Ooh,
month,
one
so you know.
1 month. Just because I'm binging it right now, and it probably has already been well over a month, I would say the new all-time low record.
Ooh,
Like
yeah.
that for me right now is, I mean, it's only May, sure, but for that, as of now, that's my album of the year.
Wow. Okay, that's some
Yeah,
high marks. That's some high marks. So
yeah.
I don't know,
Like I said, it is May. That could change, but there's, you know,
but for right
seven,
now,
six
at
more
this
months.
moment
Yeah,
on May 27th, that's what it is.
yeah,
I feel that.
that's what
Okay.
it is. Yeah,
I
definitely.
appreciate the honesty, the straightforwardness. That it's tough to. I feel like I say it and I'll get entrapped and say, well, again, you're only on here once. I'm gonna be on here for God knows how long. So
Mhm.
I could say something and then completely not backpedal. I try not to, but you get the point.
Right.
Um, but the last thing, Jacob, the most important thing, tell them about Promotive, where they can find you out on social media, and anything you got coming up in the next couple months. This is coming out, I believe, in July. So, anything coming
Cool.
out in July?
Yeah. So, Promotive. We're on, all the major social medias: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. It's usually under Promotive CA for California because we're from California. Find us on there. Spotify, of course, Apple Music, all that stuff. I would definitely say Spotify. That's what we're trying to push right now. So definitely, if you have Spotify, check us out. Go like all the songs, add us to your playlists.
There we go. And anything coming up in July? You got got new music, or got
We are currently working on just a handful of songs. I think we have one or two that are like pretty much ready to go. It's just a matter
Okay,
of filming videos for them and actually getting them all completely mixed and mastered. But we probably, like the May, yeah, by July we'll probably have
something.
something ready to go. I say that now, but it'll probably be more like August, September, something around there.
Again, I feel
Um,
the internet is the great equalizer. So if if it isn't out by then, people will know.
yeah, but hopefully by July we'll have another song out. But if
Fingers
not, then
crossed.
we got it in
Close.
my head.
Within the same, within a couple, a month or two. Give them some credit. We're all
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
we're all in this quarantine together, so I feel like
definitely.
you gotta give some people a pass. But I got to give a shout out to, I believe it was the I of the Mighty group, because that is how I think we connected. So, first of all, love I of the Mighty. Always will. Always, massive love for those
I'm
guys.
surprised it took this long for the Mighty to come up in conversation.
I know. I was gonna mention it earlier, but I didn't want to seem like I was just like, hey, guys, like I know you've been on the channel, like all that sort of stuff. But I love those guys
No, definitely.
tremendously, and brought homies together. So you gotta give them props for that. But go check out Promotive. All of the links will be in the description, where you can find out about their band, their music, all that good stuff. Check out In My Head. I will leave a link to their YouTube channel, so go check that out. But most importantly, go follow them on Spotify. I know a lot of bands have been pushing that. So definitely, all of y'all are in quarantine, so you can do it. I know I do it, so definitely go do that. I'll go give them a follow on the Spotify, because when I'm at work I can jam it. But if you enjoyed this interview, make sure to share it, like it, subscribe. It goes a long way. And thanks, of course, to Jacob of Promotive for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, definitely.